They're people of principle and they're people of courage, and they are appalled that civil disobedience should become an act of terrorism. And I was just a few minutes ago looking at a speech, an excellent speech, made by Shabana Mahmood in 2014, of supporting people who opposed the then bombing of Gaza. So I think we need to think about the legislation that's being passed. Protest should be allowed in our country. And indeed, when I, for example, challenged Jack Straw on this in the Terrorism Act 2000, I said, will this criminalise civil protest? He said, no, never.
It's interesting you cite a speech, which I haven't read, obviously, but Shabana Mahmood speaking up against, in the interest of protests against a situation in Gaza, because there's a difference, of course, towards doing that and supporting a proscribed terrorist organisation. John Healey, the Defence Secretary, said yesterday to Trevor Phillips, I would say to those people, voice your concerns, protests on the streets, challenge us as a government to do what we can to relieve the suffering in Gaza, but that does not need to be linked with support for Palestine Action. It's a fair point, isn't it?
Not really, because Palestine Action have been prescribed by the government, and I personally oppose that legislation because I do think in a free democratic society there should be a right to protest. When they went onto the base at Brize Norton, they knew what they were doing. They knew that they would be charged with criminal damage. They knew they'd be charged with criminal trespass. They took that risk. They knew that, but they did it out of principle. They were not involved in bombing anybody. They weren't involved in killing anybody. They weren't involved in threatening anybody's safety. And instead, they've now become a terrorist organisation and threatened with very long terms of imprisonment. I understand their case is not going to get to court until January 27.